was telling you about. So first, let me give you two definitions. Microbiota is one way to describe these microorganisms, and that stands for a microbial community that occupies a given habitat. Now, most of the time we use the term microbiome, which is the collective genomes of those species. So the genes are what make the proteins that do the stuff. So most of the time when you're thinking function, you're thinking microbiome. So it's good, you know, it took me, I was confused about these things for a long time. I thought that was helpful. And I put lots of references at the bottom of the slides, which you'll have in your website. So you can, if you don't believe a word I say, you just go fact check me. I would be happy to hear what you have to say. So we can no longer think of ourselves as singular organisms. We are superorganisms, which means an organism inhabited by other organisms. We have 10 times more bacterial cells than human cells in our bodies. These bacteria make up 1 to 3% of our body mass, and some consider the microbiome the second human genome, and in fact, those bugs have 100 times more genes than we do as humans. So what do I think about the scientist of tomorrow? What does this look like? Well, from my experience, and I've been in science and healthcare for 20 years, science is very different from the way it was 10 or 20 or 30 years ago. We went from single scientist, single concept, in your lane, make a whole career on one gene, to global science, multidisciplinary, more complex every single day. So how do you succeed in that model? Well, first of all, science is full of challenges, including the fact that failure is the norm. If failure wasn't the norm, we've had it all figured out by now. So you need to teach your kids to be fearless and to take those challenges and use them to learn and grow. Number two, when we have that mentality of one thing, we kind of lose the opportunity to think outside the box and solve problems. And this is very important. Science is not about how many facts you can spit out, because I can tell you if I went to compete with those kids at that national thing, they probably know more facts than I do. I know that. I'm not a remember facts person, but I'm a big picture person, and I see where there's gaps. And that's what you need to be successful in science, because once you know the gap, then you can figure out how to solve the problem. Science has generally been about me, me, me. How many grants do I have? How many papers do I have? And really and truly, when you think that way, you lose opportunities to collaborate and to generate ideas that are bigger than the ones you could have come up with on your own, which is why we have to train people that are always thinking beyond self. Because when you think collaboratively, when you share, when you think bigger than you, I'm telling you, you'll have a better idea than if you would have just focused inward on your own thoughts and your own ideas. And finally, this is something I'm very passionate about. We need scientists to be strong communicators. How many of your kids at those international things are fantastic communicators? I would say a very small percentage. Am I right? Okay, I'm not totally wrong with this. So I am extremely passionate about this because of this small fact. Ideas require action to lead to accelerated discovery. So if you have the best ideas in the world, but nobody understands them and you bore the crap out of them so they don't want to listen to you, there the idea dies. So I think that being not just a good communicator for your colleagues and other science geeks like you, but to be able to reach the general public, to reach people in business, to reach people in other fields. How do you know that somebody in business doesn't have a technology that you could use for science? You don't know that. Ideas can come from anywhere.